What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with macro data, we did have on Friday evening inflation. Year over year came in at 0%. Forecast was supposed to be negative. Month over month came in at 4%, and the forecast was 0.3. So in both cases, a little bit hotter. It does appear that it was more of a one-off type of scenario, so I don't really see the market taking this and panicking all that much. But if we do see more of a growing trend next report, then this is where you might see some of the Chinese stocks start to get influenced. But aside from that, Thursday evening, we do have a lot of big data. So industrial production, retail sales, unemployment, new loans, money supply, a lot of big data that could move Chinese stocks and just give a insight on how the economy is actually doing. So this will all influence stocks on Friday. Aside from that, companies unveiling the earnings, there's not really all that much. Some speculative stocks, but nothing that will really move the broader market. So this whole week, it is going to be based on two things. One, just L90 demand. Over this last weekend, we haven't really seen all that much in updates, so it's been kind of quiet. But this upcoming week, most likely you'll see a couple posts here and there, kind of maybe NIO again doubling down on kind of targets, but nonetheless that could really move NIO. And then aside from that though, it is going to be more of a technical driven week, and in NIO's case that's actually kind of a good thing. So I'll go over that near the end of the video. When it comes down to shorts going into this upcoming week, 11.4% of the free float is being shorted. That works out to be 175.91 million shares overall being shorted. Even when I did my video on Friday where I covered NIO, one of the main reasons why NIO is moving higher despite having very low volume was shorts returning. By the end of the day, shorts did return 9.34 million shares. A lot of people in my comments on that video seem to be under the impression that shorts know something big is coming. This is why they are kind of early stages starting to return. Of course, maybe more to come. So we'll kind of wait and see how that does play out. But Friday, they definitely did start to kind of change the trend. So it went from about 13.4% of the free float being shorted to about 10.7%. And that was July the 24th. They did increase it back to that 12.14. And now it's at that 11.4. So they are playing a game. And so essentially, it does look like the last couple of trading days, they've started to return more and more. So maybe maybe they know something, or maybe they're just worried about the L90 demand or something like that. DTC is 3.97 days. So that essentially also does signal that shorts are overextended. In case you are curious, DTC does factor in the average volume for NIO in comparison to how many shares are being shorted. So it kind of is a good indication of the magnitude of a squeeze. But in order for a squeeze to happen, you need a surprise catalyst, right? So essentially, you never know. NIO could put out something crazy, causing shorts to really return more, but nonetheless, anticipate them to be fairly active as per usual. Looking into this week, though, at the options, bulls are anticipating for it to be kind of between that 5 and 550, so a good amount of optimism there. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 450. So with us closing at that 484, there is more upside anticipated based on all that. And again, with us closing at that 484, that does mean that the 450 and below strike prices are in the money. So you have 11,000 at that 450, 4,000 at 4,000 at 350, and then 5,000 at that 3. So you might see a little bit of a bump up come Monday, as market makers will have to cover all of that because they don't have a lot of volatile stocks such as NIO in their inventory. And you didn't really see any crazy transactions in the after hours, so market makers weren't really doing all that much. There was one transaction that might have been some covering, but 1.94 million isn't going to kind of fill all this up. So again, something to keep in mind. Looking forward into this upcoming week though, it is a monthly chain, so it is a little bit more active. You have 38,000 at that 6, and then you have 30,000 at that 4, 26,000 at 450, and then 35,000 at that 5. So by Friday, this upcoming Friday, if NIO is close to, let's say, that 450, 5, 550 and so forth, then you might see shorts get a little bit more active just to ensure that it does close below kind of key points, which in my opinion, that's one reason why shorts did return so much on Friday, is because NIO wasn't close to that $5 strike price. Because if NIO was close to that $5 strike price, let's say in the power hour, for instance, shorts wouldn't have returned this amount. They'd be rather increasing, because both market makers and shorts have a financial interest in having most of this expire worthless. So moral of the story, just kind of watch for a lot of these strike prices by the end of Friday. This is could correlate with some kind of volatility and manipulation, but with it closing at 484, it landed exactly on this pivot point. So like I said, on a technical standpoint, things are looking pretty good. So just watch for that to be that make it or break it, for it to ideally close above that and then retest that 507. Last time around, NIO did struggle a little bit with that 507 and also that 521. So those are going to be some key resistance levels that ideally you'll see NIO break above in the early kind of part of the week, and then set the trajectory for higher highs. Aside from all that though, there hasn't really been all that much in articles coming out, no new analyst ratings whatsoever. So it has been relatively quiet from them. So last one was done 10 days ago, 487 by Macquarie. As a consensus, 461 is that price target, representing a 4.75% downside. But on the actual chart, Friday's nice price action did get it above that ALMA, which is at 464. So it shows signs that it wants to finally move higher. And this is kind of that nice reversal, because there's been a good about 6 consecutive days of it below that ALMA. So this is kind of the first one off. Thursday kind of led the nice starting momentum, and then Friday just kind of piggybacked off of that. So going into this upcoming week, it does show that it wants to really move higher. So as far as support and resistance points, just refer back to what I mentioned for the fib levels, but right now it is above all the key moving averages, so the 200, 50 and also 100 stochastic RSI. Because of all the volatility that it's kind of been experiencing, it is considered very oversold, so that could really stand to benefit it going into this upcoming week. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on NIO. Where do you see things going for this upcoming week? In my opinion, I do feel that we will be closing between this R2 and this R1, so 507 and 521, so within that set range, unless NIO actually does put out something crazy substantial, really pushing it higher above that point. But I think realistically, based on just the kind of back and forth between shorts, longs, it will close between somewhere within this range. So let me know your general thoughts on NIO. Are you planning on buying? Are you selling? Is there any other catalyst that you feel is coming out this week that could really influence it, aside from L90? Is there anything that you're aware of that maybe I didn't bring up? If so, throw it in the description below. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.